basement. All haters will tackle some time for action is now.
I'm using this website and it's supposed to be something they call a music genre finder because apparently we have to know this.
Now, I don't know about you, but I hate labels. Unless the labels are number one or champion. Those labels I like. But all of the time wasted with the classification, categorization, and sorting is for the birds. But as they say, whoever pays the piper calls the tune.
I know this is just an AI thing and it might not be exactly clear, but I don't know what the subgenres are to even say what they are. I'm not really into it like that. I'm just into sitting in there by myself and making songs. So I'm just using this as basically a starting point. What's interesting is that I put 3 songs in here so far. 3 of 3 had death rock listed as my subgenre, which I don't really understand that at all. But oh well, I guess I should investigate what death rock is, but I don't think that that's what I do. I get it's a little bit electronic and rock, yeah, synth pop, yes. Sometimes too synth poppy for me, but I love it.
Yeah, synth pop. I said it. With all of this newly acquired data, I'm still not sure what to make of it. I'm not any closer to knowing what subgenre my music falls into. So I think, what would Peter Parker do?
I'm gonna copy them into ChatGPT and I'm gonna see what it has to say about it. Hello.
We were talking about figuring out your music's genre and subgenre. You mentioned that the tool suggested death rock, which didn't match your music. We looked at the other genre and subgenre results and narrowed it down to something like alternative rock, post-punk, or electronic rock. You were about to see if any of those felt right or if you needed more info.
AI's not magic. It just reflects patterns. And sometimes it just makes stuff up and says whatever it wants. So before I take it and run, I have to make sure I'm not being fed to the wolves.
I'm nervous about categorizing myself these ways and then having some hardcore people who know what it is and know what they love come at me with the battle axes. What do you say to that, AI?
I get it. Genre purists can be intense, and it's tough to box yourself in.
After finally getting the upper hand, the AI realized that I wasn't going to be its fool, and it slowly started to submit. Now, I hate overthinking, but we still haven't found a consensus, so it is shoulder down and driving through.
How would you describe symphonic rock?
Symphonic rock combines rock music with orchestral elements.
Sometimes I have that, and then sometimes I have the synth keyboards on there, but it's always mixed in with rock.
Your style seems more polished and politically charged. It's more like a fusion of energetic, synth-driven rock with a strong, clear message.
Naming your own sound is harder than it should be. Say too much and it sounds fake. Say too little and no one knows what it is that you're doing. I, for one, think it's all just made-up nonsense for pretentious people to have standards that better validate their pretentiousness. And that's why subgenres and niches within niches are bullshit.
Alright, so based on that, go ahead.
It's like a hybrid that blends the best of both worlds. You get the catchy melodic side from synth pop and the gritty, crunchy edge from rock guitars.
So should I say rock and electronic?
Rock and electronic is a solid, straightforward way to describe it.
But I'm afraid of saying electronic. Is electronic rock or is electronic dance?
The best way to say it might be rock with electronic elements or synth-infused rock. That keeps it clear that you're rooted in rock, but incorporate electronic influences.
What's the genre? The subgenre?
Rock with electronic elements or synth-infused rock.
Synth-infused rock is a subgenre.
Synth-infused rock isn't a formal subgenre, but it effectively describes your sound.
That's
rock.
Fine for if I'm trying to write a press release, but what about if I'm filling in some form and they have subgenres there predetermined?
At this point, I've come to the conclusion that yes, my friendly neighborhood AI does understand my music, but it doesn't seem that it's any better equipped to define the subgenre than I am.
In that case, you'd probably choose the closest available subgenre. If electronic rock or synth rock is an option, that would fit well. If not, you could go with alternative rock or indie rock and mention the electronic influence in the description.
Right. But indie rock, my stuff has a more polished sound than indie rock most usually. Sometimes I do less of a production. And indie rock is like more, to me, it's more introspective, maybe artistic, an artistic expression in terms of the lyrics, conceptualization, right?
Got it. Since your sound is more polished and produced, alternative rock might be a better fit than indie rock.
So I would say rock, or would I say pop rock?
As dizzying as all of this is, these platforms want a clean tag, an easy classification to better connect you with those who would most enjoy what you're making. And as I mentioned before, he who pays the piper calls the tune. So while I'm typically not a fit-in-the-box kind of individual, I have to find a way to contort into one. Because if you don't pick something, it picks you.
Pop rock might be a good choice if your music has catchy, melodic elements along with a polished production. If you want to emphasize the blend of rock and electronic influences without leaning too heavily into pop, you could just go with rock and specify the electronic elements in your description.
So just go with rock. And then synth rock. Anthemic isn't a category, but they did have that symphonic, which mine isn't always that, but sometimes instead of using the synth sounds, I'll use the symphonic sounds to change it up.
That sounds like a solid approach. Using rock as the main category gives you flexibility. This way you're capturing the essence of your sound while keeping it versatile.
Thank you, bye. Well, I don't know that we figured anything out. I don't know. Want to tell me what you think? Drop it below.
If I'm wrong, oh well. In the end, I don't care about this part except as it helps me to find my friends. That's what all of this is for. I'm not chasing trends. I'm not playing to win the algorithm. I'm building something more. If it speaks to you, good. If not, I'm still going.